Hi, this is Ken. This spiritual video is called The Path to Spirituality. The path to becoming spiritual is very, very long and arduous. It's very difficult. When we are born, just before we take our first breath, we are spiritual. We are enlightened. All the knowledge of the universe is already present within us because within every life, from the moment of conception, a spirit joins that life. Spirit may be called a soul, our higher self, a piece of God, but that is where the knowledge of the universe lies and where spirituality lies. But with our first breath, something else happens. Something called the ego is developed. And the ego is everything that we learn and believe to be true in our life from the moment of our birth. Everything that we learn from the ego is destined to make our journey to spirituality more difficult. What happens with the majority of people is that they adapt the views that they learn, especially early during the first 5 years of those lives of their life, when they develop their ideas about the world, their beliefs, their prejudices, and those remain with them throughout their life. By believing the ego, you are compromised in that the ego tries to survive and dominate our life. And by when the ego dominates our life, then the voice of the spirit that is also within each of us is muted. It's mitigated so we don't hear it as loudly. For some people, they don't hear it at all. That their ego is so strong that they believe everything that they were taught that they hear nothing from their spirit. Now, we learn, and what we learn after we are born is that to live a successful life and to be happy and to really have meaning in your life, we need to make a lot of money, get a good job, and get a good education, have a family, a house, and a lot of material possessions, and be able to do the best things that life tells us. But in reality, if we believe that, the more we believe that, the less and the more difficult your journey to spirituality will become. Because spirituality is almost the opposite of what we learn success and meaning in our lives are. The ego is concerned only for yourself or for ourself. It is the I. It is only concerned for our success in life and our happiness and our meaning, and it has absolutely no concern for anyone else but yourself. The spirit, however, represents unconditional love. It is the we that is within every life. The spirit is concerned for what is best for everyone, not just for ourselves. And because of that, we if we don't hear the spirit clearly because our ego is dominating our life, then we simply are going to have a very difficult time journeying and reawakening our understanding of spirituality. Now, for those who awaken during their life, and very often that can happen anytime, but very often it happens around midlife. And the reason for the midlife crisis that people have is because perhaps they've been successful in life. Perhaps they've made enough money. They have a house, they're married, they have a car, they're being able to go out to restaurants and travel and do the things they were told. But a feeling begins to develop within them that something just isn't right. That feeling is coming from your spirit, trying to get its message across past the barriers that the ego have erected to let you know that there is more to life than just what you learned. They're direct opposites in the fact that the ego believes that success is money and material possessions. The ego believes success and meaning comes from sharing everything that you have with all others, including your unconditional love with everyone else, regardless of whether you know them or they are strangers. They are two completely opposite things. So the path to spirituality involves going through all of those things, accepting everything that we've learned in our life, and awakening by having that queasy feeling within us where we're just sensing that even though we may have accomplished what we set out to accomplish, we do not feel like we've had a meaningful life, that something is missing and we need to find it. Once you awaken, you truly begin your journey towards spirituality. Now, the journey is unbelievably difficult, and why anybody would take it is beyond understanding. Beside the fact that we have no choice because we are we have this feeling within that we have to satisfy. When you awaken, everything that you once believed to be true, you start to question. You question the work that you're doing, especially if it does not have meaning. You question the friendships you have, especially if the people that you're friends with remain asleep or believing everything that they were taught in life. You may even be questioning your marriage, especially if your spouse is not taking this journey of awakening towards spirituality with you. So everything you once knew in your life, you now begin to question. And with this midlife crisis, or whenever it may happen in your life, you start to have to make changes in your life. You start to rethink your job. Instead of doing something where perhaps you're making a lot of money and you because you've got the education, you may be a doctor or a lawyer or a stockbroker or something where you're doing quite well, you now want to use your job to give something back. Perhaps now you might become a nurse or a social worker or somebody who volunteers with the Peace Corps or to try to help other people in some way. Even if you were making a lot of money and a doctor, you may join Docs Without Borders in order to help people who are less fortunate than you. So everything in your life begins to change as you question and you begin that journey toward enlightenment and toward spirituality. Now, very, very few will ever reach the end of their journey during their life who become enlightened. Enlightenment is simply the entire acceptance that everything to do with spirituality and the spirit within you is true and is meant to be shared unconditionally with all others. There are no questions left. Now, your ego will always remain with you throughout your life. It's not something you're going to get rid of. But instead of it dominating your life like it does before you awaken, it now becomes a lesser, minor part of your life. And you follow the direction of your spirit, realizing that though the ego will still remain with you throughout your life, it will no longer dominate your decisions. All of your decisions will therefore be made with your spirit in charge. This is Ken with another spiritual video. Until next time.